It's not like the Minnesota front office had their heads in the wrong place making this trade. They addressed an area of need, and that was rim protection. Minnesota, they wanted to put a guy next to Karl Anthony Towns that could intimidate drivers, protect the basket, make guys think twice. And as far as that is concerned, that facet of the game, Rudy Gobert is doing a pretty good job. And the Wolves defense, despite Cat having to play the 4 and chase shooters every which way, coming off screens, running through screens, playing in a way that's very foreign to him as he's played the center position in the NBA every year of his career. But yeah, the offense with Cat, Gobert on the court is absolutely brutal to start the year. And Cat trying to guard Cameron Johnson last night, complete nightmare. This guy ran him to death. Off screens, Edwards just getting open, letting it fly any chance he got. 7 of 11 from the 3-point line for Cam Johnson, going up against Karl Anthony Towns, who is just not equipped to do a track meet all over the court, guarding these hybrid 3-4 small, fast sniper guys that are just going to try to run him in circles. Eventually, it's just not going to work. Cat at the 4 is dumb. It's bad for your offense, too, because you can't score with Rudy Gobert clogging the paint. You're forcing Cat to be a sniper only exclusively, and if he posts up, man, it's really hard to do that with Rudy Gobert in the paint. It's also really hard for Anthony Edwards to get to the basket, which is like one of his best things. If you just resort to Anthony Edwards being a 3-point sniper, yeah, he's really good at that too. But the maximized version of Anthony Edwards will be the version of him that is a relentless driver that can get his bucket in the paint, and he has no dunks this season, as he's talking about. You just can't jump over 3 big men in the paint. Yeah, it's hard, and you have to resort to jump shots. It's just not a winning formula. You need a balance. You need to utilize the greatness of a player like Anthony Edwards, who's not just a perimeter scorer. When you take Gobert out of the game and you space the floor a lot, you give Anthony Edwards those driving lanes back, he is much more effective. The offense is much better. I gotta say, I think the defense, despite the problems that the Wolves have with this, because they did allow Cam Johnson to score 30 points mainly off of playing small and going at that deficiency in the Wolves lineup, Rudy Gobert being in the paint, it makes your defense great. They take Towns off the floor, the defense gets even better because you don't have to worry about that. You can play a little bit smaller on the perimeter. And then when you take Gobert off the court, the defense is terrible. So you can't say that Rudy Gobert is really disappointing because he's doing everything that is being asked of him. He's doing everything you expect him to do. You didn't trade for Rudy Gobert for him to be a offensive focal point. So the problem is you made a trade that makes it more difficult for your 2 best offensive players to flourish on the offensive end. So a week before the NBA season started, I made a video about Anthony Edwards' season trajectory, season preview. 3rd year in the NBA, this is the year a lot of young players take a big jump, especially the young players with a lot of promise that are placed in a primary role that allows them to succeed. You fucking Timberwolves fans were getting up my ass because I was criticizing giving up this many picks for a guy that doesn't really fit well on your team. And you guys were telling me, oh, it doesn't matter because we had picks for years and look where it got us. We're the Timberwolves. We're not going to attract free agents, so we have to make trades to bring stars to our team. And I understand that to a degree until you realize that you could have used 5 picks for fucking anything. You think Rudy Gobert was the only player on the trade block, the only player that you could leverage picks for? There is no lineup the Timberwolves have found so far where they can emphasize offense and defense. Like, if Gobert and Towns are both on the court, the offense has been bad. If Gobert is on the court and Towns isn't on the court, the offense has been terrible, but the defense has been great. If Towns is on the court and Gobert is off the court, the offense is alright, the defense sucks. You need Gobert on the court right now to play defense, and you need Towns on the court right now to play offense. And D'Angelo Russell, I'm still really wondering what his fit on this team is, because if you're going to use Cat in the post and Gobert is on the floor, your other 3 guys need to be threats to move around without the ball and threats to catch and shoot. D'Angelo Russell is just not quick enough off the ball. He's not making cuts. It's really easy for teams to identify how they're going to attack the Timberwolves because Cat is playing the 4, and if you have a shooter at the 4 that can run around, you will make Cat run laps around the court all night. Cam Johnson is a perfect example of this, and what we're going to see all season when Cat is in at the 4. Maneuvering around screens, making quick cuts to follow a guy like Cam Johnson, who is hunting his shot. He's not going to hesitate on his shot, and he might not even stop moving. I get the Suns might just be a bad matchup because of this, but Cam Johnson's not the only example of this in the NBA. There are a lot of guys that are going to be playing the 4, that are going to be playing like this specifically because they know if they run enough, Cat is just not going to be able to keep up with them. So the more that you stagger these players, the better, but you still have to deal with playing them at the same time because you're not going to bench one of these two guys. And if you do, why did you make the trade if you can't play these guys together? It doesn't bring out the best in your star players. It creates less space on the floor. Doesn't help Anthony Edwards playing with Gobert. It doesn't help Karl-Anthony Towns playing with Gobert. And they need Gobert for defense. Like, his role is necessary on the team, but just not in the starting role of all these guys playing 36 minutes a game. And that's a problem. The best way for this team to work is to have Gobert come off the bench and not close games or something. Or just, it depends on your matchup. I don't know. One of those guys can't be closing. You're going to have one center closing games. You can't have two centers closing games. It's going to take a lot of balls to make a decision like that, but sooner or later, you're going to have to do something major. And they haven't really played anybody besides the Suns. The only really good team they've played. So once they play a lot of these good teams, they might get exposed to a greater degree, and that's going to do it. Let me know what you guys think about this video, and I'm out. Thanks for watching, y'all.